Beals here with no nonsense, cause you can't make sense if you don't make sense. A pod with freestyle discussion, poetry and social deconstruction.
Hello, this is Big Burn.
And this is Big Beals.
And this is the No Nonsense Podcast, October 10th, 2014. We'll start with a poem from each one of us. There once was a car, and once was blue. It killed every single dead person, and so did you. But what can you do? You can only choose to fight every single asshole out at night. That's a poem by John Iskanovich of 17th century England.
That's one that really speaks down to the inner workings of my personality. I think it really dives at the social norms of the 20th century and how people in that age just really couldn't come to terms with the way that the new wave of English rock was really kind of taking the streets by storm, by infiltrating the system's new and entrepreneurial state of mind, detracting from the former love of Eastern European soccer play.
Oh, that sounded like transcendentalism down into the nitty-nitty. And what you have to say there is the female identity really integral with the turtle identity? And, I don't know, the 17th century intellectualism dictates that it's not, but, I mean, who am I to say and who are you to say? I mean, we're not. We're just here to comment on the issues that we have today here.
You're right, Chad. I've got one thing to say. You know, the modern stigma on turtles and the strife that they've gone through in the past 30 to 40 years has been monumental, to say the least. And if we have no action, and we've seen no action, and as you see, many consumers still going out and purchasing lawnmowers at discounted rates and still chopping off the heads of innocent turtles, and unlike priorly was said before, the previous statement that was stated earlier in the podcast, that was said before, as you had said, that a turtle does not have the same rights, does not bear the same rights as an individual living in the street.
So you're telling me that the feminist movement is more important than the turtleist movement?
I would say that the feminist movement has in absolutely no way, shape, or form have any sort of predominance in modern society.
Well, what would you say that Spirit 102.7 would have to say about that? Well, I mean, some say they're just talking heads, but I've heard they have a pretty good staff.
Right, Ken. You know, that's right. When we look at the way Spirit 101 has encapsulated the minds of the millions and just captivated their hearts, you would be led to believe that feminine internalism is one and all in the end.
So you're telling me that journalism and the university sector are one and the same inside the same paradigm?
What I would say is that you are correct, John. I think that just because, a university is a separate building and a turtle is a completely different life form, they really do share a lot of the same properties.
Now, would you say they can enter three different states, a liquid, a gaseous, and a solid?
I would argue that the university will never transcend past the liquid state. I think it is always in a state of liquidation, and if you currently were to check their assets, you would know, quite frankly, that there's probably no hope for them to obtain this gaseous state that a turtle so frequently obtains.
Now that makes me think, did Al Gore go to accounting class in second grade, or did he just skip right on over to the clothing donation drop-off class?
Actually, we are just getting word here, actually, wow, that you are correct. He did skip the accounting class. But the more interesting fact is on the account that he was a feminist, and therefore was no longer going to be a man trapped inside the modern, ideals and chains that turtles themselves have been through.
Because some people have said Al Gore is not chivalrous, and that makes me wonder. Yeah, right. I mean, I've seen him personally lay down a blanket or two for a few hundred elephants. Female elephants.
Now that's right, because he is indeed a feminist. Now what we are seeing him is pushing the chauvinist movement, and what we are showing him do now is really stretch and push that chauvinist campaign, and I'm pressing it on the individual as strongly as possible, just jamming it down their throats, so to speak.
But I don't want to get too political there, Beals.
Right.
I'm just saying apolitical today. I mean, I don't want to get my feathers all in a ruffle.
Well, speaking of politics, we're going to go ahead and go to the panel here and see whose votes now are actually being less counted for. Is it the male, the female, the black, the white, or is it quite possibly the turtle?
And that's where we all come back. It all comes back to where we started, Turtleist movement. And I'm going to be quite frank. I've been to some zoos and they're locked up, and it kills me inside because I think they deserve equal rights.
And we have been seeing for many, many years now the civil rights activist Turt being the one to try and push the turtles out of their former state of oppression.
Some say he's the most prominent political activist of the last 80 years.
I would argue that he is the only political activist that has ever existed on Earth. I think, with the justifiable movement of turtles against humanity, we can really go ahead and just say with a firm hand that Turt is the leading star and the, I would say, religious icon of the 21st century.
Now, do you think he's transcended into other mediums? Do you think he's a rock star too, waiting to get his billy goat scruffed?
I believe he's been on canvas. I believe he's been on
oil
plaster,
paint.
I believe he's been through acrylic, but I do not think he's ever entered the digital world.
All right, well, that's it for the first episode of Beals and Burn. No nonsense.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Hope you got some insight and a few laughs. That's all for now, folks. Yes, goodbye. Till next time, as long as we don't die.